And then finally, Dylan Stars, who's in the teal shirt, like all color, identifying that way. He led us in almost every offensive category. 14 points a game, 9 boards. He had 2 great days at the Final Four. In fact, his 20 points and 9 boards in the state finals, if they gave out a most outstanding player like the NCAA does, I think he would easily have won that. But I think the thing that I'll most remember about him in the state final game was the fourth quarter. And Dylan's kind of tall, he's 6'9", and big body. He took off from one side of the free throw lane, dove on the floor, ended up on the other side of the free throw lane in front of the Warriors bench. And I'm talking to Coach Nair, Cecil, he goes, how does that big man fly all the way across the floor, get on the floor for a loose ball, and secure for a team? I said, well, that's Dylan Stars. So there lies a little story about each of those 4. And so you can understand my job was very easy this year. Just not screwing it up was my job. And to their credit, and to all you underclassmen, these guys, not to one, probably have eye-popping stats, and they didn't care because they always put their team first. And to their credit, I'll talk about Alex first. He's going on and signed to play baseball at Northern Illinois University next year. And the other 3 gentlemen will continue to be teammates at Northwest Missouri State University on a basketball scholarship. So to have all 4 of these continue their careers, both athletically and educational, I couldn't be more proud. I'm proud to present them with their All-Star Awards.
Next we would go to King City. Coach up there, he's been recognized with the beard. King City, of course, won a district title, or played a fantastic season. Of course, a lot of big bodies on Coach Pearl's ball club this year. One of the big ones, a guy that can shoot from just about anywhere for a guy his size, Wade Bryson. And King City's Matt Pearl and Wade Bryson.
KKWK for the coverage this year. It's really, it's been a good experience and have good local media that take the time and pay attention to golf clubs. And Wade Bryson, to talk about him, to sum him up, I've got to say so many good things about him in this postseason. It's really a remarkable thing to have a kid who can do everything. Like Chris told you, he can pull up and shoot outside. He can make power moves inside. He was our leading scorer. He was our leading rebounder. He was a unanimous pick in a tough conference. We're working out a little man in that conference. He's an all-district player. I feel like he did everything we ever asked him to do. What do you say about the kid? He's got a 30 on his ACT. I'll thank Mom for that. When the basketball, I'll thank Dad. And when you have a kid who comes to you and he's ready to do anything you ask, so naturally talented. And on a team with people around him that believed in him, Wade would be the first to say that his teammates made him even better than he could be individually. But when you get to sit back as a coach and spend a lot of your nights just watching that happen in front of you, that makes for some pretty easy coaching. I was proud to have this young man on my team, to be his coach for 4 years. I feel like he's come a long way since that sophomore that came to the coach's office and said that he didn't really know what his role was. And he didn't really know what was going to happen. I said, Wade, you're going to get taller, and then everything's going to happen. And it did, and he did. But anyway, I'd like to congratulate Wade Bryson for your KKWK All-Star.
Next would have been the Lafayette boys. They're not here tonight either. They had a couple of young men, Taylor Dayon and Tim Nelson, who made the All-Star team. I'm sure the NBC guys could tell you some horror stories about playing against those guys. Taylor, a senior, will be moving on. Tim, just a junior, so the NBC guys get to deal with him for another year. 2 very deserving athletes over there on the north side of St. Joe. Next, that takes us back to the girls' side and the Lathrop Lady Mules, and their All-Star, I believe, just a junior in my mind, if memory serves me correctly. Janelle Staley, a young lady that, I tell you what, she's a tough one in there. You'll see her diving on the floor for balls or shooting and kind of leading them and scoring. one of her stories she told me during our interview was about how she had her favorite play, of course, the set inbound play for her to pop a three at the end of halves. That's the kind of player she is. So I give you Coach Martin Gordon and their all-star Janelle Cecil.
Thanks a lot. Before I get started, I know it sounds like a broken record, but I want to thank Chris and KKWK for all the coverage they give high school basketball, and particularly our basketball program. And I also want to thank Chris for giving away my halftime secret. So, you guys play. We really don't try to run play for Janelle to get 3 at the end of the half. So, forget that. Anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce Janelle Cecil. She led us in several categories this year, our team. She led us in scoring, 14 points a game. She was leading three-point shooter. She made 44 three-point baskets on the season. Coach Ellis was talking about how she had a player that was reluctant to shoot. Well, Janelle didn't have that problem. She likes to shoot. So she also led us in fouls. She probably could have averaged 16 or 17 if she wouldn't have to sit by me all the time. She tries to lead us in blocks, hence the fouls. So. She challenged me so I couldn't embarrass her. So I don't know if I'm doing that good enough yet or not. So. In all seriousness, Janelle's a tremendous player. She's a junior, so we get to have her back again next year. Hopefully, she can play her senior year healthy. She broke her foot third practice of her sophomore year, so she struggled with that most of her sophomore year. This year, she played with a broken index finger and a torn bursa in her right knee. And, she used to always tape it up and was ready to go. She's a very tough player, very mentally tough, and I'm excited to have her back again next year. So, again, Janelle Cecil.
Next we go to Lawson and the Lady Cardinals, a team that every year over the last 3 or 4 years has been right there, won a couple district titles this year, came up just short.